What is up, you guys? We are back again with another video. This one is called The Feeling, as I describe it. And this one is written by Edward Art, who actually has a YouTube channel as well. He posted this on the Neville sub and as well on his own sub. And the reason this one stood out to me is it actually is pretty similar to another post we just covered. And I think hitting it again from this angle in his words will shed some light on this idea of really feeling the self-persuasion that I talked about in the last video. And with that being said, let's get right into it. So I have been on these forums and have spoken to countless people who've had success stories. I've read their comments in the past as a lurker. I've noticed that they're all describing the same thing. They tell you to feel as though you have it. Some will get deep into it while others do not. They tell you to imagine seeing yourself how you want to be until you are convinced you are it. Now, here is the one thing I have never read on these forums. What exactly is this feeling? Neville describes it as acceptance that the wish is granted. This is a beautiful way to put it, but it still does not describe the feeling. What does that feel like? I'm going to try my absolute best to describe this feeling. It all starts in understanding that consciousness is the only reality. Personally, this is crucial to understand so that you can consistently feel this feeling. Some people get this feeling through more brute force, but you do not have to apply any pressure on yourself if you firmly believe that consciousness is the only reality. So, what is this feeling? It is an internal shift. It feels like a light bulb went on in your mind. It feels like peace and joy mixed together. It feels like you shifted your perspective of reality from without to within. It feels like you have released from worries and fears. Here's something you can practice to get this feeling. I want you to see a scene in your mind. Something you want. It has to be something you deeply desire. Understand this right before you're about to imagine. I would not desire it unless it has been fulfilled. When I want you to imagine your scene, while imagining it, suspend any rational thinking that will hinder you. Then give yourself this understanding by repeating this. What I am seeing or hearing is not some imaginary thing, but is actual reality. Keep repeating this and seeing your scene. Eventually, you will be given this internal shift feeling. It will feel like it is actually real, all through self-persuasion. I'm not saying you have to hear it perfectly or visualize perfectly. No, I'm saying to self-persuade that what you see and hear is actual reality. This is the feeling. It can be challenging to describe because I do not think we have a word for it, but try it. 1, understand you cannot desire something without it already being fulfilled. 2, imagine the scene or hear a voice or your own, something that implies fulfillment. 3, suspend any judgment, simply imagine your scene. 4, then repeat, what I'm hearing or seeing is not imaginary, but is actual reality. I thought you were going in at 3.
No, it's Tuesday.
Oh, okay. All right.
2:30 and 3:30.
Okay. All right. Have a good one. You are, okay. So, like I said, number 4, then repeat, what I am seeing or hearing is not imaginary, but is actual reality. You are persuading yourself into this feeling. You will notice a shift happening. It feels fulfilling and also soothing. It feels done. You may have to repeat the phrase a few times to get the feeling. Now, if you meditate like this daily, maybe even multiple times a day, you will notice your reactions to life will be different. You will build faith in believing that you have what you want. Many success stories involve persistence, but persistence simply builds faith. Eventually, through this, you will have built a strong conviction. I hope this helps. Yeah, so we have some comments here. It really is almost impossible to describe, isn't it? That calm feeling wherein worry is no longer necessary. Somehow you just know there's a storehouse of infinite treasures and experiences, and it fills you to overflowing. Makes me curious to know if you have a similar one of expansion as I do, which for me, I love even more. There's this scene from the original Poltergeist where Diane is trying to explain to Stephen what it feels like to sit down on the X mark on the kitchen floor that then pulls whatever object is placed on the mark, including the human body, to another spot across the room. A tickling sensation that pulls you. And that's the best way I can come up with for the feeling I get in my forearm and midsection. But that tickling sensation isn't at all uncomfortable. I'll have it come upon me for hours at a time, and then there are days it doesn't come at all. I wonder what other people experience in this blissed out tickling sensation. Neville Goddess writes, it's funny because reading Edward Art's post above, I know exactly what he's talking about, but it's almost like it's written in a foreign language. If I'd read it a year ago, it would have sounded like gibberish. The way I would describe it, have experienced it, use it, is completely different in my mind. And though I'd use different words, tenses, etc., we're describing the exact same thing. All roads lead to God. Coconut Basmati writes, yes, for me, it's almost like butterflies or being at the top of a roller coaster. It's a feeling I get when I know my knowing has stuck and I'm anticipating the thing happening. It's so funny. I feel it now that I'm describing it. I didn't realize I could generate it on command. Oh my gosh, imagine if this is the post that helps me fully unlock my power. Okay, so Infinite B, for me, it's not really a physical feeling like some have described here. It's just more of an inherent knowing. I just know my desire is already within me. For example, I live in a pretty decent house right now, and I have some pretty cool stuff. Thinking about the fact that I have this stuff already doesn't give me any sort of special feeling or tingling sensation. I just know that I have them. Just like I know that I'm a girl and I know I have arms and legs, etc. It feels natural, you know? Do you get tingling sensations when you think about all the stuff you currently have? Don't think so. So whenever I have a desire, I just try to know it's already within me and that desire is fulfilled. Yes, so I would agree with that. You know, I've touched on this, and what I would call it, and I've called it this before, is the feeling of naturalness. It's natural for me, as she said, it's natural for me to be a man. It's natural for me to be a guy, to know that I have arms, to know that I have legs. It's natural for me to have a cat. Mochi is stretching up on the door right now. It's natural for me to be drinking my drink. I like to enjoy these ice drinks, sparkling ice. They got some winter flavors out right now and they are fire. But anyways, there's a lot of things that you already have in your reality that are absolutely natural to you. Natural to own an iPhone, natural to turn on the lamp, the television, use your phone when you wake up in the morning, to hit the snooze on your alarm. I know that these are just very common examples and it's really not doing it much justice by referring to these things, I guess, but the feeling of naturalness is that knowing that, yeah, this is natural to me. It's like, and that's why it's hard to explain. I've explained it in other videos, but I always use that pendulum example where on one hand, when people are trying to achieve a desire, it's like fight or flight. And I like to use the analogy of a guy at the bar going up to that girl. There's 3 different types of guys. There's the guy that's so scared, he's so nervous, he's shaking, and he's afraid, and that's almost like flight. Because he desires it so much, he needs it so bad to work that he's too scared to even take action, might run away. He might say something, but then like freezes up, tenses up, doesn't work, right? Then there's the other guy on the other side of the pendulum, who is the aggressive guy, the guy that comes in this overbearing manner, trying to wow her and impress her and talk super loud and take up all this space and be like, yeah, so blah, 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 I'm this, like this and this and this, and try to impress her and all that. And yeah, that guy usually, a lot of the time, it doesn't work either. Guy that's super pushy, super like, yeah, this. Okay, she picks up on that. She says, oh, this guy's also like this. He needs it too bad. He needs her validations, which is why he's trying to force his way, enforce that he gets what he wants. So that doesn't work. But then you've got the third guy. And the third guy is the embodiment of the feeling of naturalness. He walks up and it's just natural for him to have a good conversation. He naturally has a good conversation with people everywhere. And he's a natural with women anyway. So why wouldn't things go well? So he talks and he might not even be saying anything that outlandish or that crazy. Everyone's always like, oh, what's your pickup line in this? But he might even just come up and just be like, hey, what's going on? And he's the guy that she responds the best with. He's the guy that she wants to have a drink with. He's the guy that she wants to go on the dance floor with, get to know better, maybe go home, maybe down the line, they get together, have babies, get married, and it ended happily ever after, right? So this analogy, the girl is reality, or the goal, let's say, in this analogy. And which way are you coming at reality from? Which of these three different characters are you approaching your goal with which type of mannerisms? Are you so tightly holding on to it that you're fearful for taking action? You have fear around it. Are you trying to exert your will on it so hard that you're trying to force it? Or are you taking this natural, calm, it's natural for me to achieve this. It's just natural for me to be this, for me to do this, for me to have this. Again, these things are easier. I like to use that analogy because I feel like it is a better way of describing it than just using words, because the feeling of naturalness is something that can't be easily described using words. It is a feeling. It is an experiential thing. But I do think that this post elucidates it in a nice way. I agree about the tingling sensation and all that. It's like, I don't know, maybe certain people get this type of sensation, but this idea of knowing that what you're experiencing in your imagination is the true reality, I think that might be one of the most helpful parts of this entire post. Because if you really do get into that state, then that will calm the nerves. That will assuage those anxieties and fears and doubts and insecurities. Knowing that this is the power that creates, and this is the power that creates the worlds around you, and that you are tapping into that power, that calm certainty, that certain feeling that yes, this is mine for the taking, whether it's already done, whether you want to refer to it as already being done, or that it's coming to you, or that it's certain that you will have this, that type of feeling. And knowing that the world is a mirror, right? And you putting that out, the world will take time to reflect that. And knowing and having that trust that it is coming, and that certainty, and showing up in your reality with that certainty and that confidence, also causes you to be more carefree, also causes you to be more unbothered. Like a recent video that I did recently, where those people that are unbothered, that don't let the bumps in the road throw them off course, derail them, all the little things going on, the people that just don't let that bother them, they are true powerful people. They are the alchemists in the world that, every single cloud has a silver lining in their life. They're able to take lemons and turn it into lemonade. Every single situation that they run into, whether it's a negative, whatever, they're able to find humor in it. They make a joke out of it. They make it empower them rather than detracting from them. And there's that quote about success is the ability to go from failure to failure without a lack of enthusiasm. And that's exactly what's going on with these unbothered people. And that's, again, these people that are able to stay centered in this calmness without going into the fight or the flight, without going into attached mode that creates those opposite ends of the polarity. They're able to be centered and calm and moving calmly towards their goal without wavering. Anyways, guys, let me know what you think about this post. all the stuff we've discussed today, drop me a comment down below. Hit me with a like, hit me with a subscribe, and I hope to see you in the next video.